Yo, what's really good? So DeadLock just released their third batch of characters, bringing in 6 more to the roster of the closed alpha. If you don't know what DeadLock is or what I'm talking about, I have no idea why you're watching this, but I will be going into a lot of detail about the new characters and their kits and playstyles and stuff, so if you aren't up to date on the game or anything like that, you should still hopefully understand my ramblings. This update also added my favorite addition to the game, literally of all time. It's the new game mode called Street Brawl. It was rumored to be coming out for a long while, but the fact that it's actually in the game, and it's even better than I thought it would be, it's really fucking fun. It's a 4v4 game mode instead of a 6v6. It takes place in a single lane. You're just trying to take the tower. It's a best of 5 game mode. Instead of like buying items and farming and stuff like that, you just choose between 9 random items each round. You get 3 of them. Now, even though I prefer Street Brawl, I know that the vast majority is going to prefer a regular game of DeadLock, so I will talk about how the new characters interact in a regular game of DeadLock, because there are specific ones that have to do with, like, you know, getting an economy lead and stuff, so I will talk about that. But more importantly, there are 2 things that I just need to say off the bat. Okay, one, obviously, this is all my opinion. At the end of the day, there will be someone out there, probably multiple people, who disagree with everything that I'm saying. They think the exact opposite, okay? This is all opinion-based. Anyone can find enjoyment in whatever they want, but this is me talking about what I enjoy, okay? And 2, this is not a power ranking video. I don't really want to talk about what's stronger than what or anything like that. I think that every character in this game is viable. You can play whatever you want, and you're not, like, griefing. You're fine, okay? I don't really want to talk about what's stronger than what. I just want to nerd and gush out about the new toys that have been given in my sandbox. I want to talk about the cool or unique things that they bring to the game. Maybe they show a change in the developer's design philosophy, or literally just whatever I find fun. That's what I want to talk about. But with the intro out of the way, nothing else left to say. That rhymed. Okay. Oh my god, I kept going. That's not on the script. I do have a script, but that was not on it. I just said that, and then it all rhymed. That was pretty cool. Okay. Anyway, we're going into the bottom of the ranking. So the character that I like the least, yeah. Sadly, it's by quite a large margin, but it is the character that I enjoy the least. I feel like 50% of people are going to understand where I'm coming from and be like, yeah, that makes sense that Rem would be at the bottom, and the other 50% are going to be like genuinely enraged. I know that a lot of people like this character because it's a cute little guy, you know, whatever. I'm talking about the gameplay here. I don't want to play Rem again. All of the other characters in the batch, I genuinely would enjoy to play again. I do enjoy playing every single time. There is only one character in the entire batch that I don't want to play, and that is Rem. The reason why is because Rem kind of fills that typical support role that you see in other games. He's very focused on the team. He only has one major damaging ability, and the cooldown isn't like particularly short on it. Rem's 1 throws a pillow that deals spirit damage and does a knockback. Rem's 2 grabs onto a teammate, enhances his items, gives him a burst of healing when he first grabs on, and healing per second as it happens, and he can jump to other teammates during it, but he can't shoot his gun. Rem's 3 is a little helper. This one's a little hard to explain, but he just sends a little minion out to go do a task. This is like incredibly good for macro. It can push a wave on its own, it can buy a cute item, it can attach to a teammate, give a move speed, it can attach to the Sinner's Sacrifice, get a money. The 3 does a lot of things that I'm not going to cover all of. His ult is a giant sleep in an area, so it puts everybody to sleep, but they don't get woken up by damage, so it's just basically a stun, an area stun. He's definitely focused on his team for the most part in his kit, and that's okay. I know that a lot of people like to support the team. Sometimes you don't want to be the main character, you just want to keep the team alive. Maybe you feel like the main character when you're single-handedly keeping the team alive. That's fine. I just don't want to play that. Personally, I don't want to play that. I think my issue with Rem is that I actually really liked how they would previously make support characters like Dynamo, Paige, Ivy, stuff like that. If they build raw damage, those characters are still incredibly impactful. Like, they can still do a ton of stuff. Rem should absolutely build support items because he is like the best support. His healing is crazy. The fact that items are stronger while he's on a teammate, all of this stuff. I mean, he kind of also has to build support items because 2 of his abilities out of the 4 in his kit don't deal damage, and when he's using one of those abilities, he can't shoot his gun. Now, despite what I just said, I would like to make it abundantly clear that if you do build raw damage, like raw spirit damage, his pillow does hurt, like, quite a bit. But again, that is his only damaging ability. That's the point that I'm trying to make here. It's not that he can't do damage. He will do damage if you build damage, obviously, but, you know, he's only got one damaging ability. That means that if you want to play a character that's, like, fragging out and going crazy, you're better off playing, you know, literally any other character. So, I don't have, like, a problem with this character. I'm just saying I like to deal damage, I like to get kills, I like to hold my own, you know, and Rem can do that, but with a single ability, so why don't I just play a character that has that on, like, I don't know, 4 abilities? With that being said, I know that I'm being pretty negative on this character, character, that's, you know, unfortunate, but it's the only character that I really just don't want to play again. I know I've already said that, but yeah, it's simple as. I don't hate the character. I know that some people specifically want a more supporting role on the team, and this is definitely a character for them, and I just don't want to play that role. There's also like one last tiny little thing to mention about adding a heavy support character to the game, and that is the fact that you're gonna attract those stupid fucking teammates that start blaming the support when things go wrong. I've played so few games of Rem, and I think probably around 60% of them, again, 60% isn't a lot, but I've played a very small amount of games. 60% of those games have had people in them just like flaming the shit out of me when I don't like save them from 3 ults, or like I pinged that my tag log was on cooldown for like 30 seconds and then they sprint in, die, and be like, this Rem's just leaving me to fucking die. It's like, brother, I can't fucking save that. What do you want me to do? It's a classic thing in any game that has a support character to just flame the fuck out of your support diff, you know, blah blah blah, all this shit. But literally, like, man, by adding Rem into the game, I had never experienced that. I've never seen somebody blame Dynamo, blame Ivy, any of that shit. But man, Rem in the game, blame that little rat fucker, because that's his job. Closing remarks on the character. I think the character's fine. Not for me. Somebody will enjoy it if you like playing the typical support role. Design's still cool, just not for me. That's all. Celeste being this low on the list is truly a testament to how good the entire batch of characters is. Like, I enjoy playing this character, and this character in the next one, I was heavily back and forth on which one should go in the number 5 spot, but I do think it has to be Celeste, and to really understand why, I do have to cover her kit first, so I'm going to get that out of the way right now. Celeste 1 does spirit damage close range with Spirit Lifesteal. Celeste 2 gives herself a barrier. Celeste 3 does spirit damage in an area on the ground after a delay. And her ultimate is an orb that bounces between enemies. However, at tier 3 of her shield, it can bounce back and forth between the enemies and herself. Okay, so now that I've shown you the kit, you might be wondering what my problem is with the kit, and like, to be honest, I don't have like a major problem. I enjoy playing the character. I think she's still fun, but like, I think it's just a simple kit is my issue. I don't know. She just does like full spirit damage. Everything scales off spirit, including her barrier. And the coolest part about her is she can play like long range and close range, because her 1 and 2 is very close range, but then her 3 is very long range. Her 4 is entirely dependent on the enemy team's positioning. So, you know, if they're positioned around your ult, or if they know how to like break line of sight with it, it's a pretty useless ult. But if they're disrespecting it and they're just standing in the open in the middle of the wave, then yeah, you're probably gonna like own with her ult. I've seen so many people complain about her ultimate, but I don't have an issue with it personally. It has counterplay, which means it can be stronger than most ults. So yeah, I mean, I find her fun to play. I just feel like she's on the simpler side. The most complex part about her actually is the fact that she's one of the only characters to have her gravity changed. So she has low base move speed, so she doesn't want to be on the ground, and she's more floaty, and it's actually quite noticeable too. But yeah, I mean, her kit is literally just like, use her 1 and 2 when you can play close range, and then use her 3 to poke and stack buffs, and then cast her ultimate when they're caught out of position, or when you can like run them down with a shield bounce. Like, I should also just say that visually she is probably my favorite, which makes it even worse that she has to go this far down, because I love everything about her look. I love everything about her animations, her particle effect. It's all incredible. She's purely this low because of her abilities, okay? Like, that is the only reason why she is this low. I love her design visually. It is so cool. Yeah, so much like her kit, not much to say. Just, you know, decently fun character. I enjoy playing the character. I just enjoy the others more. So Graves actually was the character that I was most looking forward to, just purely based on her theming. It is right up my alley. The necromancy stuff, the minion-based combat, that is exactly what I wanted from a character, so I was actually really looking forward to her. And to be honest, the gameplay doesn't disappoint. I think she's pretty fun to play. Now, I did say at the start of the Celeste one that I was heavily debating between putting Graves or Celeste in the number 5 spot, and it's for 2 completely different reasons. Celeste kit, I think, is kind of simple, so the gameplay isn't really that engaging in my opinion, whereas Graves' kit is much more complex, but it does come at a cost. So let's actually take a look at her kit right away, so that way I can kind of break down why this character sometimes feels like poop from a butt. So Graves' 1 will summon skulls in an area that will keep hitting the target for spirit damage. They can linger and attack targets on their own, but also they will target whoever you're shooting first. On top of that, she charges this ability by having things near her die. Graves' 2 is a line of hands on the ground that will immobilize champions that walk over them. Graves' 3 is a passive that allows her weapon to steal gun damage and spirit resist from her enemy. And lastly, Graves' ult is a gravestone that she places that constantly has little minions rise that deal melee damage and explode for spirit damage when they get close to an enemy champion. So yeah, Graves' kit is like really cool, and she's super fun to play. She can be super oppressive at times as well, but into a team that knows what they're doing is when Graves is no longer fun to play, because Graves' entire kit, at the cost of being very strong, is entirely counterable. Her 1 can be broken if you melee or shoot the skulls, her 2 can be double jumped over, her 3, obviously it's a weapon passive, so anything that denies weapon, like disarming, hex, metal skin, any of the disarm like skills in the game that exist. And lastly, her ultimate can be heavy melee'd twice to be broken, but also, you know, it's minions walking at you, so if you space yourself out after you know that the ult has gone down, you can kill the minions before they arrive at you. One could argue that just because there's counterplay to a character doesn't make them any less enjoyable, and I think that's very fair. It's just, you'll have one game where you feel like a raid boss and nobody's respecting your kit and you're absolutely dominating, and then the next game, when people are actually paying attention, they could just lock you out and you're completely useless. But again, to be fair, because we're this far in the list now, there's just a lot of positives to talk about. My favorite thing about Graves is how flexible her build is. She scales off of almost every single stat. Her ult scales off of her HP, duration, melee damage, spirit damage. Her gun applying the spirit resist obviously makes hybrid builds really good. It's such a versatile character. Like, you'd be hard pressed to find an item that didn't at least have some beneficial effect on her. Also, I love the interaction with escalating exposure or mystic vulnerability on her. She does so many little instances of spirit damage with her skulls that, like, the incremental damage stacking for every time they get hit by it is so cool. I love that. Also, there's some fun stuff you can do with her ult, because it takes 2 heavy melees to break the gravestone, obviously. You can stand inside the gravestone and parry it to get like a free like super stun on some people that are trying to break it. Like, she has some fun stuff that she can do with her kit, which is why, you know, she's my number 4 favorite. She's fun. Also, to just reiterate what I said during the Celeste one, if you were to not compare these characters to just the batch of new characters, but the entire roster, I mean, Graves would place pretty highly. I think she's a really cool and fun character. Like, she might be lower on this list, but if you compared it to every character in the game, I mean, I fuck with her. She's cool. Yeah, cool character. Like the minions, like raising an army of the dead. Not much else to say, honestly. Again, from this point on the list, man, I love every character. The last 3 characters, I love them. They are very, very close together in my enjoyment on them, but man. I'm gonna sound like a broken record here, but I mean, this pick was heavy deliberation. I was like, should this really go here? Is this number 2? Could this potentially be number 1? Is there recency bias involved with my other pick? Blah, blah, all this stuff. I'm way overthinking it. The fact of the matter is, the final 3 characters in this list are like, they're amazing, dude. They're really, really good. They are some of my new favorite characters in the entire game, okay? All of these characters are incredibly fun, so even though Venator ended up in 3rd, he could easily be 1st on some days, you know what I mean? Like, some days maybe I'd rather just play a like full day of Venator. Like, he is a great character. Alright, kit breakdown real quick. Venator's 1 is a grenade that bounces once and explodes for gun damage. The damage over time that it leaves on the ground scales with his level. Venator's 2 is a close-range shotgun blast that knocks an enemy back, and if they hit a wall, they're stunned briefly. Venator's 3 is a trap that he lays on the ground that can be broken by the enemy. In Venator's 4, he pulls out a crossbow with 3 bolts. The 3rd bolt does pure damage and executes if they're below a threshold. But if he max levels it, all 3 of the bolts in the crossbow are pure and will execute. This kit is a great example of how to make all of your abilities scale off one damage type and still be interesting. Again, I had an issue with Celeste because she just scaled off all spirit, her abilities did spirit. That's the character. But Venator, on the other hand, he has a trap that he can use to set up to stop characters that might dash in and get out, such as, like, you know, maybe a Shiv or an Infernus that are going dash build. His 2, his shotgun blast, can be used to flip the course of a 1v1. Let's say somebody's trying to fight you in an alley or something, bang, you knock him against the wall, you get a couple seconds of gun damage that you wouldn't get otherwise. And his ultimate is just like a better Vindicta ultimate, you know, scales off his gun damage, does pure damage, they can't even resist to the pure bolts, and then it executes if they fall below a threshold. It's some crazy shit. Like, at the end of the day, you could argue that he's just a gun damage character, and his whole kit is pretty simple, and I think that's fair, but I think the fact that he has gun damage tied to other effects, like, you know, maybe a little bit of area denial with the burn on his grenade, the stun with his shotgun, the immobilize on his trap, obviously that synergizes with you being able to shoot them repeatedly if they can't move, and his ultimate just being an absurd amount of damage and an execute check. You could definitely argue that he's simple, but I think that because there's at least a little something different tied to each ability, he plays pretty uniquely, and he has some cool things that you can do with him. His crossbow is just so fun. I absolutely love just pulling that thing out, and like, people have to respect that, or they will literally lose thousands of HP to me just shooting a fucking purified crossbow bolt laced with hollow point, ricochet, headshot booster. Also, a new dedicated kill stealer in the game is fantastic. Having it execute on something is so lovely because I get all the enjoyment because I just got the kill, but then my teammate, who is not very happy that I got the kill, will be sure to let me know. And because it's my obligated duty to talk about the theming of him, he's actually up there in my favorites. Like, I don't know if it's Graves or Celeste or Venator, but they're all up there in my favorite, like, theming and visuals and stuff. When he's on fire, he gets like a little holy like thing behind him in the portrait, and that looks really cool. Just his whole like design or archetype of like this holy man that is like trying to purge these demonic creatures, and you know, it doesn't matter who they are. If they're a demon, he's gonna fucking send them to hell. Like, dude, that's fucking cool. That's some Castlevania like hard shit right there. I like that. Yeah, that's it pretty much. Fun character. He's gnarly. Yeah, let's go on to the next one. How does a character that I hate visually get this high on the list? Well, that's simple. It's because his gameplay is like fucking crack. In your face, out of your face, dash across your screen, dash through you, slow you, stun you, execute you. So much bullshit. I guess saying that I hate him visually is not, like, entirely accurate. I just don't find him interesting. It's also important to clarify that I only mean the way that he looks as a character, not his animations. Those are fucking awesome. Now, how about we take a little look-see at those animations, shall we? Apollo's 1 does a burst of spirit damage and a backflip. He can also use this in the air to stall himself in the air. I forgot to record Apollo's 2, huh? That's unfortunate. Well, I mean, it's in this clip, you just can't really tell. Apollo's 2 is a full directional parry that if they hit you during it, you dash forward and stun them. That's what I did right there. So Apollo's 3 is a charged ability. If you let go while it's green, it does more damage and heals you. You get 3 lunges per cooldown. And on top of that, whatever direction you input right when you start charging it, you do a little sidestep in that direction before you actually lunge. So you get 3 lunges, you perfectly time it for more damage and heal yourself. It's a really cool ability, and it's actually pretty easy to time. Okay, Apollo's ult is the most over-the-top anime thing in this entire fucking game, and I love it. He dashes through enemies, which deals damage, it slows and silences them, and then he deals damage again while he's in an invulnerable state. That second part damage, though, is like vastly increased if they're below half HP. Considering every ability in his kit has movement tied to it one way or another, I cannot wait to see how people absolutely break this character once they start to learn more like hidden tech and discover things that they can do with the character. Also, something that I think a lot of people don't mention with this character is he's full melee range. Like, he is so limited in his range, but none of his abilities scale off melee. He's just raw spirit. I love that. He gets to use all the fun spirit items. He doesn't have to build the same melee items that all the close range people build, you know? Going back to what I said at the beginning with Rem and wanting to feel like the main character, this is a character for narcissists, bro. You want to feel like the main character? Apollo's your guy. This guy is fucking... This guy just floats around doing whatever he wants. He's playing the game on his terms, not yours. You can't really ask for much more than this. He's fun, he's flashy, and has the potential to outplay people so hard with his kit and movement. There is but one character that we have not yet covered. The final character, and the one that I'm deeming my favorite of the batch. Man, I wanted to hate this character so bad. It's not fair, man. When all the characters were revealed and voting started, everybody would not shut up about this character. Every game of Deadlock that I played, they'd be like, vote for Silver. Every time I went on the internet and I saw anything related to Deadlock, it'd be like, holy shit, awooga. Editor's note, I kept LARPing as a gooning redditor and I'd cut it out because I was making myself cringe. Look, don't let me gank your goon, bro, but like, it was so excessive. After a certain point when I constantly hear something being hyped up so much, I want to hate it, you know? I think that's a pretty normal thing, to be cynical about something that people are so obsessed over, you know what I mean? And then the character comes out and she's my favorite gameplay, so like, what the fuck, dude? Like, I lose. Don't get me wrong, I'd want more fun characters in the game instead of unfun characters, but why did it have to be the one that everybody was stroking their peanuts to? Let us take a look at her kit. There is so much to get through because instead of the typical 4 abilities, she got 7. So let's break it down. Silver's 1 reloads her gun, and the next 3 bullets deal max HP damage on top of their bullet damage. Silver's 2 in human form dashes to an enemy, deals melee damage, does a backflip off of them after holding them in place, and the next shot on them does a burst of spirit damage. Silver's 3 is a thrown blast that does a little bit of spirit damage, but primarily slows them. And now we get to the real part of her kit, her ultimate. So her ultimate transforms her into a werewolf after she does enough damage. So she can't pop this ability just off cooldown, she has to do enough damage to get into the form. When she transforms, she gains a burst of healing and both type of resistances, and as she lands attacks in her werewolf form, she gains stacking attack speed up to 15 stacks. Her 1 in werewolf form gets changed to a bite that scales with melee damage, deals missing HP damage, and has a crazy amount of lifesteal. Her 2 in werewolf form is a lunge that once again deals melee damage, but it hits them with a bullet resist shred and also deals spirit damage over time. And lastly, her 3 in werewolf form disarms them, hits them for spirit damage, and leaves them with a slow. Not crazy enough for you? Don't worry, because keeping with the theme of this batch, at tier 3, her ultimate does something nutso. Whenever you land a kill in werewolf form, she starts the transformation over again, so that means you reset the duration, but also you get the initial burst of healing whenever you get a kill. Touching on a few points that I've already touched on, but really just hammering them home here, the last 3 characters, Venator, Apollo, and Silver, they're all amazing characters and I love playing them. It's just Silver I've found myself playing more than I think any other character in the batch. She also has the thing that I was talking about where if you want to feel like the main character, I mean, Silver's a fucking raid boss. Like, her human form might be not fantastic, putting it gently, but her werewolf form is disgusting. And again, once you get a kill, you just keep snowballing. You heal back up, you can stay in, you can just devour them. I mean, I have clips on clips of me just straight up running people down. I'm just walking towards their entire team because I can. Aside from having the main character playstyle, once again, she has a more complex kit, which I lean towards, not because complex is better, but because there's so much more that you could end up discovering about that character. As the game goes on and stuff, people are going to find out what items are better to build on her, some cool combos that you can do with her moves, maybe movement tech that's unique to her. Again, I hope the same for Apollo as well, but she's got 7 abilities. Surely Silver will have some unique tech solely to that character. Out of all of the melee characters that currently exist in the game, I think I would kind of lean towards Abrams as being my favorite, because I put a B in there like Abrams. What I meant to say before fucking up my words, I was just trying to say that Abrams has so much healing that he can be this raid boss, but now that Silver's in the game, she just takes the crown for that, because she like actually is the raid boss. She has the resistances, she has the healing, she has the lifesteal, she has the disarm, she has the chase. It's actually insane. She is her. I think my number one thing that I want with the character is I want to try to figure out how to get better at her human form, because while it is just objectively weaker than most characters, on purpose obviously, I feel like there still is potential. Her 1, the reload with the enhanced max HP stuff, like that actually chunks if you land all the shots like close range and stuff. So like, I feel like maybe I could figure out a way to get her gun in human form to actually be good, and then I'm fucking in both forms, because her swipes in her ultimate that gains stacking attack speed, that's still her gun damage. Like her normal attacking, that's still gun damage. So like, I feel like gun builds could go absolutely crazy. There's so many things to think about and consider. There's so many tools with her. There's so many fun things that I want to try. That's why she is my favorite. Alright, I'm all done with my rambling and ranking. I just wanted to talk about it because like, I've been having so much fun with it, you know? It's a Valve game, which is pretty exciting, and like, I'm so excited for this game's full release, because every single part of it from start to finish so far has been incredibly enjoyable, and this update in particular has brought in, you know, a game mode that I like, a bunch of characters that I find really interesting enough that I actually wanted to like talk about it, you know? Isn't that crazy? I don't know. It's just been super enjoyable, and I look forward to the future of the game. Let me know if you think that this list is dog shit and I should kill myself, and and who you like the most. But yeah, I'm gonna go chill out.